Hi friends, Krista here. Thank you so much for stopping by Books and Jams. I am so glad that you are here to hang out with me for a little while today. Today we are going to be talking about the lowest rated middle grade books that are on my shelves. This is the second part of my shelf spotlight for middle grade March. I have already earlier this month talked about all of my highest rated read and unread middle grade books. I will link that video down below. It was a lot of fun and it was very inspiring to pick up some of those books that are super high rated that I haven't yet read and to share with you some recommendations of books that are very high rated that I've loved. We're going to kind of do the same thing. I have here two stacks of books, both read and unread books that are lowest rated on my shelves. There's two things that stand out to me as I was preparing for this video. First of all, almost all of the books that I'm going to talk about today are from my Newbery shelf. If you don't know, I'm collecting all of the Newbery winners since 1922 when it started. And all but I think 3 or 4 of these books are from the Newbery shelf. Yikes. I think part of that is that these books may have been required reading in school. So as people fill out their Goodreads, they're just not thrilled about them, or they don't look back on these books with good memories. I also think that not all of them stood the test of time. And so as people are reading them now, they might receive a lower rating than if they had been read in the year that it won the Newbery or shortly thereafter. There are a few in this red pile that I did enjoy when I read them, but honestly, I probably did end up giving most of these a 3, and a couple of them I know I rated lower than that. So and then the ones that I haven't yet read makes me kind of sad on the one hand, because I am intending to read all of the Newbery winners, and it makes me sad that so many of them are very low rated. But I also am not surprised by that. I'm not surprised at all. So I go into it with pretty low expectations most of the time, except for the newer ones. I'm going to first talk about the books that I have read. All of these are Newbery books. And the reason for that is, number one, because a lot of Newbery books, as we said already, have low ratings, but also I'm doing this as a shelf spotlight. So I'm specifically highlighting books that I have on my shelves. I have read a couple other middle grade that are lower rated than even some of these, but I didn't keep them on my shelves. So there's no point in talking about them in a shelf spotlight because I'm highlighting books that are on my shelves. So we're just going to start with the books that I've read. These are all Newbery winners. In the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I did kind of enjoy. So do with that what you will. First of all, we have Miracles on Maple Hill. And I'm going to start with the highest rated of the low rated and then go all the way to the lowest. So I'm going to work my way down in ratings. Miracles on Maple Hill by Virginia Sorensen was rated a 3.85. Honestly, I don't really remember this one that much. I know I read it last year during middle grade March. And it's about a family in the countryside. I think the family moves there and the kids are not very excited about it at first. Is this the right book? But they get more excited about it as the book goes on, and they meet some of their neighbors, and they're super kind to a man who is kind of a hermit living up on the mountain. I remember enjoying it while I read it. However, it's not particularly memorable in my mind. So maybe it deserves a lower-ish rating, but 3.85 honestly is not that bad. It's not that bad at all on Goodreads. And then with 3.82, we have Julie of the Wolves by Jean Craighead George. I really enjoyed this one. I discovered that I like survival stories to a certain degree. Not all of them. I didn't love Hatchet, which is on this low rated list, but I don't own it anymore. I quickly got rid of it because I couldn't stand it. But I did like this one. In this one, we follow Julie, who lives in an Eskimo village. When the village no longer becomes safe for her, she runs away and finds herself lost in the wilderness in Alaska. She doesn't have food. She doesn't have shelter. She's got to figure all that out. She finds herself communicating and learning how to communicate with this pack of wolves. It's super interesting. I really enjoyed that one. And I think it has a sequel as well, which I have not yet read. Then with 3.8 is this itty bitty. This is my smallest book last year, Sarah Plain and Tall by Patricia McLaughlin. This is the story of a mail order bride. Caleb and Anna have just lost their mother. The dad puts an ad in the paper for a bride and welcome Sarah. Sarah comes to join the family. And it's just about that adjustment. And it was sweet, cute. I enjoyed it. Then we have Rabbit Hill by Robert Lawson. This is number 4 and it's 3.79. I should say number 7 because we're counting down to my lowest rated. So at number 7, Rabbit Hill. This one is about a family of rabbits who lives on this farm that has been abandoned for a few years, I think. And all of the animals are very excited because a new family is moving in, but it also means making some adjustments. Animals are the main characters, very naturey and fun. I thought it was cute. I liked it. At number 6, we have Dear Mr. Henshaw, which has 3.76. This is a Beverly Cleary. I love Beverly Cleary. This is about a young boy who writes to his favorite author for a school project and then continues to write to his favorite author. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. It was okay. I did enjoy this one, 3.76, Out of the Dust by Karen Hesse. This is a book written in verse, set during the Dust Bowl, and this young girl and her experience. I thought it was great. I loved that one. And then I did not like any of these next ones, the last 4. So at number 4, we have The Cat Who Went to Heaven. This has 3.74. I don't know, this cat kind of shows up at this artist home, and it's a tricolor cat, and they are known for good fortune, or they're a symbol of good fortune in this community. But this artist had been really struggling, was a starving artist, basically, literally starving artist. But when the cat shows up, things change for him. He sells a painting. He starts having success in his work, and the cat really seems to want to be in his painting, and he has to decide if he's going to put the cat in his painting or not. I don't know. It was like not that memorable, honestly. Number 3 is The Midwife's Apprentice by Karen Cushman. It's about this young girl who only goes by the name of Brat. She doesn't really have a name. She has been living in the dung heap, basically, and the midwife finds her one day, gives her the name Beetle, and is basically pretty abusive to her, and she becomes an apprentice. It's a hard life. She lives a hard life, and just really, really doesn't believe in herself and has never had anyone else believe in her either. And I don't really feel like there was enough redemption in this one for a middle grade book. I thought it was interesting to learn a little bit about midwifery during this time period. I forget even when it is, but about this girl kind of learning to speak up for herself a little bit, but I didn't feel like it had quite enough redemption arc there. Then at 3.68 is The Matchlock Gun. This is my edition of it. It's not very exciting. This was rough. Here's the title page. This is one of the earlier... When did this win? Oh no, 1941. So it's within the first 20 years of the award. It has 3.68. Did I say that? It's about this family during like pioneer family. And there is an attack, or the colonists are at war with the natives who are living there. And the boy gets the gun off of the mantelpiece and saves his mother by shooting it. What? Didn't love that one at all. Number 10, my lowest rated of all of my read books, is 3.59, and it's The Whipping Boy by Sid Fleischman. Again, a little itty bitty tiny book. I don't remember this one very much either. Jemmy lives in a castle as the whipping boy. He bears the punishment when Prince Brat misbehaves. For it's forbidden to spank, thrash, or whack the heir to the throne. The two boys have nothing in common and even less reason to like one another. But when they find themselves taken hostage after running away, they are left with no choice but to trust each other. Again, I don't really remember it. That tells you a lot. That's probably why it's among my lower rated Newberries that I've read. Except that there are 10 more coming our way of ones that I have not yet read. Let me tell you, I'm not very excited about this stack, but they live on my shelves, and I would love to know from you if you have read any of these. Do you agree with their low rating or not? But the first 1, 2, 3, 4, the first 4 are not Newbery winners, and then the last 6 are. So I have loved this author, and we're going to 3.62 to start with number 10, and then our lowest is going to be a 3.26. That's pretty low for Goodreads. So this one is Liddy by Catherine Patterson. I read and really enjoyed The Great Gilly Hopkins by her, and I know she's a very prolific middle grade author. She has quite a few books out. Lydia and her younger brother are hired out as servants to help pay off their family's farm debts. Lydia is determined to find a way to reunite her family once again. Hearing about all the money a girl can make working in the textile mills in Lowell, Massachusetts, she makes her way there only to find that her dreams of returning home may never come true. So it's interesting. It's going to talk about indentured servants and also children working in factories and the mills. I'm actually very intrigued by that. And that has a 3.62, I said. Also with a 3.62 is this book by Kayla Carter. I have heard about Kayla Carter from Chantel at Chantel Reads All Day. This is not one of the ones that she has talked about. This one is One Speck of Truth by her. I just grabbed it from Book Outlet because of hearing such praise for other books by this author. So I'm curious if any of you have read this one. Elma has everything she needs: help with her homework, sleepovers with her best friend, structure, and piano lessons. Everything except answers to all her questions. Her mother won't tell her about her stepfather, Adam, who is suddenly gone this summer, or about life in Portugal where her parents met, and not about her father, who Elma cannot find no matter how many graveyards she searches with her best friend. So she has a lot of questions about life, and then at some point her mother's going to move them both to Lisbon, to Portugal. So she's going to get, I'm hoping, some of those answers. I'm intrigued. I definitely want to try that author. Maybe I won't start with that one. Next is number 8. It is a Newbery Honor book with a rating of 3.61. We have Whittington by Alan Armstrong. It's about a cat. I'm not really interested in this. I don't know. I think someone sent it to me in a box of stuff at one point. I'm not collecting honor books. I'm just collecting winners. But I mean, it stands out from the crowd, I guess, enough in the year that it was written that it received an honor. 2005, so it's not super old either. Bernie keeps a barn full of animals the rest of the world has no use for. 2 retired sulky horses, an overly enthusiastic rooster, some banty hens, and a Muscovy duck with clipped wings called the Lady. The Lady is pretty much the law. So when the tough-looking cat who calls himself Whittington shows up one day, it is to the Lady that he makes an appeal to secure a place in the barn. So again, we're going to have animals as our main characters in that one. Not my favorite thing. This next one surprises me a little bit. It has a 3.54 rating. Now we are officially below the rating of all of my read books. So we're moving down into the lowest of the low that I have on my shelves. This is by Sharon Creech, who is an author that has written quite a few middle grade books, and I love Walk Two Moons by her. This one is The Castle Corona. Has a really fun cover there. I found this one at a library book sale. And so it was only probably $1, I think. Long ago and far away, there was a castle, but not just any castle. This was a castle that glittered and sparkled and rose majestically above the banks of the winding Winona River, the Castle Corona. And in this castle lived a family, but not just any family. This was the family of King Guido, rich and royal and spoiled. And King Guido was so spoiled that neither jewels nor gold nor splendid finery could please him. For what he longed for most was a nap and a gown that didn't itch. What? I mean, I'm down. A nap and a gown that doesn't itch? I feel ya. Far below this grand glittering castle lived 2 peasants, but not just any peasants. These peasants, though poor and pitiful, were plucky and proud and in possession of a stolen pouch. How about that alliteration? But not just any pouch, a pouch whose very contents had the power to unlock secrets and transform lives. And oh, there is an author, but not just any author. Sharon Creech is a Newbery Medal award-winning, whatever. This sounds like it could be pretty fun. A spoiled king, some peasants who are probably going to pull the wool over his eyes a little bit. It has really cool like illustrations throughout. I don't know why it has such a low rating. Let me know if you've read this one. 3.54. The rest are all Newberries. And we go down from here. So next is 3.49, and now Miguel. He wanted to be treated like a man, not a child. Every summer, the men of the Chavez family go on a long and difficult sheep drive to the mountains. All the men, that is, except for Miguel. All year long, 12-year-old Miguel tries to prove that he, too, is up to the challenge, that he, too, is ready to take the sheep into his beloved Sangre de Cristo mountains. Yet when his deeds go unnoticed, he prays to San Isidro, the saint for farmers everywhere, and his prayer is answered, but with devastating consequences. That's sad. Number 5 with 3.39 is Shen of the Sea by Arthur Bowie Chrisman, and this is Chinese Stories for Children. So this is a group of short stories. This was the 5th winner of the Newbery, so we're going way back. I'm interested to read short stories, especially Chinese folklore type short stories. Enter a world of dragons, magicians, and other wondrous creatures in this delightful collection of Chinese folktales. I mean, that sounds really good to me. I'm sad that it's rated so low. With a 3.36, we probably have one of my least favorite covers. Oh, it's got so many stickers and stuff on here too. I need to try to get some of those off because I love a printed hardcover, but this is called The Dark Frigate by Hawes, by Charles Boardman Hawes. But we're in 17th century England. A terrible accident forces orphaned Philip Marsham to flee London in fear for his life. Bred to the sea, he signs on with the Rose of Devon, a dark frigate bound for the quiet shores of Newfoundland. His bold spirit and knowledge of the sea soon win him his captain's regard. But when the Rose of Devon is seized in mid-ocean by a devious group of men, plucked from a floating wreck, Philip is forced to accompany these gentlemen of fortune on their murderous expeditions. Like it or not, Philip Marsham is now a pirate, with only the hangman awaiting his return to England. Dun, dun, dun. Number 3 with a 3.35 is one that is relatively newer, Crisscross. This one is from 2005. And so it is one of the newer ones, so that's kind of sad. This is by Lynn Ray Perkins. It doesn't really tell us too much on the back. She wished something would happen, something good to her. Checking her wish for loopholes, she found one. Hoping it wasn't too late, she thought the word soon. Meanwhile, in another part of town, he felt as if the world was opening. Life was rearranging itself, bulging in places, fraying in spots. He felt himself changing too, but into what? So much can happen in a summer. Definitely sounds like a summertime read. Looks like a summertime read, but I don't really know what that one's about. Number 2 with a 3.3, which is pretty low, is called Gainek, The Story of a Pigeon. I'm so not interested in this. In the big city of Calcutta, India. Oh, I do like that it's set in India. Nearly all the boys wanted to raise pigeons, and many of them did. This is the compelling story of one special pigeon called Gainek, because of the shining feathers at his throat, and the boy who loved him. Hatched from an egg, the little pigeon learned to find food and protect himself from natural enemies. Then, trained by the boy to carry messages, Gainek was sent to war, where fighter planes became his enemies, not other birds. Like a true soldier, Gainek performed bravely under fire, but badly wounded, he came home, warped by his experience and afraid to fly. That doesn't sound too bad. I don't know. It's pretty low rated. And then the lowest Newbery, or middle grade, on my shelves with a 3.26 is Daubrey. This one is also pretty old. It was 1934 that it was written by Monica Shannon in Bulgaria. I like that some of these are written in different countries. That makes me excited to read them. Daubrey lives within the circle of the year. It just sounds like it's going to take place over a year and follow this boy and all of his activities. I don't know. It probably won't get read this year. I'm not sure when I'm going to read it. It does have illustrations, which I love when middle grade books have illustrations. So that makes it, these are not like super appealing illustrations, but they add a little bit to the story. Even full page ones. So yeah, there you have it. My lowest rated Newberys, basically. My lowest rated middle grade books that are on my shelves. This is part 2 of my shelf spotlight. Not as exciting as the first half of this shelf spotlight, but for what it is, those are my lowest rated middle grade. I would love to hear if you've read any of these, if you think the same, like, yeah, those are pretty low rated. I mean, I'm still going to probably read them because I have a goal of reading all the Newbery books. I will just try to intersperse them with some fabulous middle grade here and there. I don't know. I guess we'll see. We'll see. Thanks so much for watching. I would love to chat with you in the comments below about any of these books or anything else you want to talk about. I love talking with you down there, and I will be talking with you in another video very soon. Bye.